I would like to invite Joyce Oliveto. Joyce Oliveto is one of the students of Anne Wigmore. When Anne Wigmore and Viktoras Kulvinskas established Hippocrates Institute in Boston and Puerto Rico, she also wanted to spread her teachings throughout America, and Michigan was one of such places. In Michigan, they had the Creative Health Institute established, and that Creative Health Institute tried to do the same with the help of Anne Wigmore. The Institute tried to disseminate the teachings of Anne Wigmore, and Joyce Oliveto is one of the first directors of the Institute in Michigan, and she would travel to Boston together with Anne Wigmore, and Wigmore would travel to Michigan to do her teachings.
Hi, everybody. Wow, such a special occasion, so much more than we ever expected. I hope it's that for everybody. I guess I'll begin with my story. And in 1979, a dear friend of mine gave me 2 books. And she was leaving for California, and I was a vegan at the time. And one was Be Your Own Doctor, and the other was Survival into the 21st Century by Viktoras Kulvinskas. And I devoured them. Actually, I'm on my 3rd copy of Viktoras's book. The first one went into shreds. And ironically enough, about 2 months after that, I was diagnosed with fibroid tumors, 2 tumors on my ovaries. I was going through a divorce. I was extremely depressed. I had 3 teenagers at home. And I went to the gynecologist, knowing what I was dealing with, pretty good idea, and basically was told that I should, come back and have a complete hysterectomy. I was 38 at the time, and I know the ride home from the doctors was probably one of the longest in my life. And I kept thinking about the words I read. Now remember, this was like February 1980, March 1980, and not too many people knew about raw and living foods, and did I really believe that the body could heal itself? Just because I read it in the books, I knew I felt better as a vegan. So I went home, and I opened up Be Your Own Doctor, and I called Hippocrates, and actually got the opportunity to speak to Dr. Ann for the first time, and had the most beautiful conversation with her, and fell in love with her over the telephone, made a decision at that time that I was going to go. However, my oldest daughter was graduating from high school at that time. And my family thought I was going to die because I wasn't going to go get surgery. And I made a decision to go, so I waited till after the graduation parties. And in August of 1980, I attended Hippocrates Health Institute. And it was the 2 most profound weeks of my entire life. I went in anemic, because I had been lost so much blood already, and very depressed. And within a 2-week period, and I know a lot of us, have had similar experiences. For me, it was a pivotal point in my life. All the bleeding stopped, the tumors dissolved, the depression went away. I felt joy in my life, and for the first time in my life, I felt God for the first time in my life. I didn't really understand how it all happened at that time. But I felt a joy I'd never experienced, and I knew this was something that I was never going to walk away from. I left there a different person. When I left Hippocrates, I felt like I was walking through the world in somebody else's body and looking at the world through somebody else's eyes. And I was so excited about it all. I went home and I just couldn't stop sharing it. And I was sharing and sharing and sharing, and people really didn't experience what I experienced. So they didn't understand the passion that I had or what my experience was. And I went home and I was told my kids, taking all the food out of the kitchen, you're going to eat all green. And I had 3 teenagers at that time. Of course, that didn't go over too good. And what I realized then is I needed to be an example, just be an example, because I'm the one that experienced this, and there was 35 people in Boston from around the world and made some wonderful, incredible friends. But I just realized I had to kind of be quiet and be an example, which I did. And it's just been the most beautiful time of my life. I feel grateful every single day for doing what I love to do and teaching what I teach. It has passed down through generations, even to my great-grandchildren. I'll be 70 in November. I had the opportunity to work a lot with Dr. Ann because when I left Boston, Dr. Ann told me about Don Hoy and about Creative Health Institute, and I only lived less than 2 hours from Creative Health Institute. So I hightailed it out there. I called Don up, and at that time, he was just building the sleeping rooms on. Creative Health Institute used to be a saloon, and it was a saloon, and they had a band, and it was a country saloon, and I guess it was pretty wild. I've heard some crazy stories. Don went to Hippocrates, and then he came home, and he shut down his saloon, and he turned it into a health center, and he built all of the bedrooms. And when I went there, they were just finishing up the rooms, and it became a second home to me and a support system to me. There was really nothing else going on in Michigan at the time, and not too many places in the United States, actually. And so I actually began teaching there. And every time I needed some support, I would just drive out. I owned my own business at the time, so I could go out when I wanted to. And then in the mid-'80s, Don asked me if I would be the director of Creative Health Institute, and I was the first director of Creative Health, first woman director of Creative Health Institute. And when I took over, there was no funds, and we had wood burners, and there wasn't people registered to come in, so I called up Dr. Ann and told her what the situation was. And I brought some newspapers in, and we wrote some articles, and Dr. Ann came in for 3 weeks, and I set up a tour of Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan, and we kind of started to market Creative Health Institute together. And traveling with Dr. Ann, as a lot of us know, is very, I don't know the right word, it's interesting. We had so much fun. I remember one time driving through a snowstorm, and somebody was driving us, and it was a blizzard, and I was like, not panicking, but I was a little anxious, and Dr. Ann just turned around, and she just said, "My dear, just close your eyes." For those of us that know her, we were all dear, and you're getting, I'm hoping you're getting the soul of who Dr. Ann was from all the love that we felt from her. We would stay in hotels, and she'd call me in at night, and she'd have dinner ready, and she'd have a tablecloth on the floor. Dr. Ann never ate in front of anybody because she meditated while she ate. And she would have a tablecloth on the floor and have the energy soup ready, and I would sit down and eat. Then we'd lay in the bed and watch old movies. She loved old movies. She just really liked old movies, and she liked garage sailing too. So these are some of the fun things that I really remember. I had the honor to help her create the health practitioners program in Boston. I was able to work with her while she was working with AIDS patients and had to rent another building to do that. I was with her during the times that she almost had to go to jail for the book she was writing about it, and basically what she did is ship her books out to a lot of us that loved her so much and said they wanted to burn them all, and she just shipped them out to all of us and said, "Here, give them away." So she was just determined, and she knew was what the world needed. And what's happening here is so incredible, because to be able to change the consciousness of the world seems like it's such that long ago, seemed like how could that really happen? But one person at a time, and you can feel the passion that each and every one of us have for how it's changed our lives, and what it's done in the lives of people we know. And so one person at a time, teaching one person, it's happening. I mean, it seems as if that raw and living foods are just common nature now, no matter where you go. When you can see a commercial on television for a paper towel, and they're spilling raw juice, and they're juicing it, and they're wiping it up with paper towel, that's pretty exciting, just that little thing. On regular TV, they're showing making raw juice and cleaning it up with a paper towel. So a lot of us have talked about the importance of spreading the word, and it feels so incredible to be here in Lithuania. I didn't have any idea it was such a beautiful, beautiful country. I just absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And I want to come back. And I just heard about an incredible spa that I just never thought that I'd want to come back. So next year when we have this, I'm coming early. I'm going to go to that spa first. It sounds very nice. But the country is gorgeous. The feeling is gorgeous. I have dear friends in Maui that are Lithuania, and I was just there a week ago. Actually, I was just there last week. And I told them I was coming. They were reading the paper from Lithuania, and there was a big article in the paper from Lithuania about this event in the Lithuanian newspaper that she was reading last week. So that was very, very exciting. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happened. We're going to show a little bit of video before I'm done here as well, but my family has been affected by this. I have 7 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren, and both of my daughters teach raw and living foods, and they're in their 40s and one is 50. But my grandson, Ryan, the first food he ever had was breast milk. The second food he had was energy soup, and the third was raw living food pâtés. And so Dr. Ann and I were able to, I brought her into Creative Health on a regular basis, and we were able to do a lot of wonderful things together to be able to have my children exposed to her at such a young age. Our children are so, so important. They're so important. And as Cheryl said, making living in raw foods is very easy. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but you can make it taste absolutely delicious, and it is not a lot of work. When you think of the cleanup of cooked foods, you're not going to believe it's less time and it's less money to do a raw living food. You take it a step at a time, but whatever you do best in your life, how long did it take you to learn how to do what you do best? Really think about it. I'm not saying it's going to take a lifetime, but it is a step-by-step process. But if you incorporate this into your life, you will never be sorry, and it will touch generations after you, as it has in mine and many other people's lives. So it's moving quick around the world. I know Dr. Ann is looking down, and I know she's happy, and you've just seen some of us, those of us that have been around doing this for a very long time. Join us and share this with people. Touch people's lives. Every day, I'm so grateful. I know my life would not be as fulfilling as it is today. You've never heard any of us use the word work, because what we do is our passion. And we love to help people, and we love to help to touch lives because we get to see them change. So join us in doing that. I'd like to close in showing you a few short videos. By the way, I have a lot of videos of Dr. Ann, a lot. And I want to thank you so much for helping me with this. We're going to show a few. This here was a retreat in the mid-'80s. After I left Creative Health Institute, and I have my own health center and retreat center in Michigan as well. But this was one of the retreats. Dr. Ann came to my house before I bought my retreat center, and we did a retreat here. And I want you to see the end of this because it's really, really cute, and you get to see her for those of you that haven't seen her on video. Then we're going to show, we'll just run them together, because after that, there's going to be a little one with my grandson, and then something else that some of you have seen before. Okay, go ahead. We got to get Ann right over here. I want Ann right over here.
By the flowers.
Okay.
We thank you for the wheatgrass, and we thank you for the buckwheat, and we thank you for Rejubilac and the energy soup. Thanks for the love and caring, and the knowledge and the sharing, and the books that we are reading on rejuvenating.
That's really nice. You must practice it so well.
We just heard it just now. We just made it up.
Beautiful. Is that from the garden?
Yeah, that's a fuchsia.
That's from the plants we have hanging over there.
Oh, yeah, right. I see it.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing the
Oh, that was
weekend.
really
It's been
nice.
so wonderful.
Here it says we love you.
Thank you.
Let her blow the candle.
Oh, she doesn't have to blow the candle.
Isn't it? Okay.
These plates are beautiful.
Aren't they nice? They were marked down 50 cents a piece.
Bargain time, bargain time.
At least 30% off.
I like the colors.
Yeah.
The colors, wow.
Okay, we'll cut pie. Okay, yay.
Yeah.
The pies have blueberry in them, almond, and soap water from figs and figs, and a little vanilla.
How did you do that?
Hey, you three workers! Hey, this is for the three workers. Well, you know, I dehydrate the crust, but I didn't have time to dehydrate it, so I had to stick it in the oven.
I thought I smelled something.
We just made this. We were going to make it yesterday, and we didn't have time. Didn't make time.
You smelled it upstairs.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
And this is the crust made into raw cookies. And these are good dehydrated too, and you can just like stick them down like that.
Don't worry, they'll be gone. Don't worry about
They'll be
that.
How many, huh? They'll be gone. How many of us are there here, so I know how many pieces to cut?
Well, I think I'm just going to try one of these little cookies.
Oh, you guys can take a cookie. Ann, are you going to taste the pie?
Yeah, well, a little bit, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because they're not dehydrated or anything. They're just
Grab two, Kira.
blended.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Think about it going good.
Go for it.
Juicy.
Why are you taking them off?
Oh, I guess you can leave them on there. I thought they were still frozen, but they're thawed out already.
This is my grandson. He's 22 now. And he's eating a tuna pate that I made. And he loves it. Watch this.
Haven't gotten them on video in a long time.
Where's Grandma? Got it in his nose. Hey, where's
He's gonna love this.
Oh, be nice. You say hi, Grandma. Breathing in and out. You say hi? Say hi, Grandma.
This has got to tell you that children really, really love raw food. This is just one of many children that love raw food. I do a lot with children. I didn't know you put that much on there, but we have something with Dr. Ann after this, but a lot of you have probably seen some of this, but we thought this would be appropriate to show right now.
Can I say just a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All I want to say that I've been very much blessed to have opportunity to be with, I call them human angels, really. Anyone that have made changes, especially some time ago. Things are much easier now, by the way, to change, but before that, as Sylvia said, you get ridiculed. And I'm really appreciating, and I appreciate this very, very much, what has happened tonight. And not only that, I feel for myself, but it does give people more courage and more effort they will make when they hear about what has happened through this living food. So I'm very, very grateful, not for you, also for everyone that took part in this. And thank you again, and bless you with all love and light and all the wonderful things to come. Bless.
All the memories are coming back now that I've watched this, but I said a little bit earlier that I set up a tour with me and Dr. Ann to 3 different states around Michigan, and I have a memory that I want to share with you because she was very funny too. She was very lighthearted and funny, and we were at a cable station, and we walked in with our trays of wheatgrass and sunflower greens, and for those of us that know Dr. Ann, we know she always smelled like strawberries. And she used strawberry oil, and she used beet juice on her cheeks. And she'd put the tray of wheatgrass down on the counter, and the girl behind the counter at the TV station said, "Oh my goodness, it smells like strawberries." And Dr. Ann looked at me and winked, and she said, "Yes, it does, my dear." She really was fun. She was just this loving, lighthearted person, and with, you just never sometimes wouldn't know what would come out of her mouth. I heard a story from Brian that just cracked me up. He was telling a story last night of when he would fly with her, she would bring her bags of sprouts, and she would get up on the plane and put it on people's plates when they were eating. That's a new one. That's very exciting. So we all have some really special stories about Dr. Ann. She's the one that I learned more than anything to use wild edibles in my energy soup, because I love purslane and lamb's quarter, and that's my favorite energy soup, is purslanes and lamb's quarter. And we have it in Michigan most of the growing season. So and I know you must have it here, so learn some about wild edibles. Energy soup is delicious, but the tastes and the textures that you bring into your life, you can make any of your favorite foods taste absolutely delicious. You don't just have to eat simply all the time. So know that as you learn this, and the rewards that will come to you will be numerous. Thank you so much.